Hello everyone and welcome back to Eat Sleep Brief. Today we're going to be covering another, I don't know if you guys recall, but I mentioned I was going to do a little series, one on equipment, one on coral, and the other one on fish, and lastly kind of what I dose and feed the tank. So today is kind of the second part of that. We are going to be covering the coral in this tank, as well as giving you guys some pointers, what I've found with the specific coral I have. Any issues, kind of any recommendations I may have. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. We're going to kind of give you guys a full rundown of every single coral in this tank. There are some pieces that I don't even know the name of. There's quite a bit of coral here. You guys are going to see as soon as we go down the lineup. Easily over 50 individual frag pieces, probably 60-70 pieces. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. So just sit back, relax, and let's get right to it. So we're going to start here on the bottom right of the tank. This is kind of my least favorite part of the tank. I haven't really dialed in on the coral I'm going to have here. So you can see here the center pieces are two types of frog spawn. We got a purple tip with green, and then we have kind of a gold tip, and on the bottom of that we do have a hammer. So these corals here don't sting each other. They will sting corals around them, like the zoas, the blasto. You can see to the left of that we have rastas on the bottom left, and I think they're the other one, the purple one is next to it. I think they're vampire. On the sand bed you can see here we do have a cyphastria. To the right of the hammer we do have, I call them the palm tree coral. We then do have some candy canes. Some acans that actually have gotten stung by the frog spawn. It's kind of taken them a little bit to recover. But yeah, that's one thing I've noticed with acans. Anytime they get stung, it takes them a little bit longer than your average coral to recover. So that's kind of what you're seeing. And yeah, one thing I would recommend is from these Euphyllia family coral, like the frog spawn and the hammer. Try to kind of keep them away from everything else. Some may or may not sting torches, but it's something you do want to look out for. Typically the rule of thumb is if you see it sticking to something, it's stinging it. So that's one way to know. Anytime you see that happening, immediately try to stop it and to try to relocate either one or the other coral, because what's going to end up happening, one of them is going to lose. And that can cause a bit more issues down the road, especially if it's another type of Euphyllia. It can cause brown jelly, and yeah, you guys just don't want that in your tank, trust me. So heading up, we do have two torches. We have a green torch, actually a very bright green torch, and then we have like a purple green tip, and then we have a very beautiful anemone you can see here on the left. There is some SPS, I don't know the name of these. There's a fire digi, and then on the right part of it you can see the green one, and I kind of do have a little frag rack on the right. This I kind of just grow out different frags. You can see Utter Chaos Rastas here. Nothing too crazy. So far with the torches have been pretty interesting for me specifically. I've had decent luck with them. I've probably had about 3 to 4 of them die off. A lot of it was caused because brown jelly. I do notice that I would notice in my specific tank, after having a torch for a while, it wouldn't be as puffy as it was when I bought it from the LFS. I don't know if it was parameters. I noticed that as time went on they would shrink, they'd lose color. I think I've narrowed down the losing color to my light being a little bit too low and having swings in the tank. And I think that's a pointer I do want to give you guys. I really think at the end of the day, stability is really what's going to cause you to have success. I mean, I know you're probably saying, I know, I've heard it, 100 times. But trust me guys, once you start having stability and you start seeing success, you're going to be, a bigger believer of it. So all in all, the torches haven't been too crazy. Torches are one of the corals that kind of do sting anything in their way. They're kind of like an anemone. They don't move, but as far as the sting is concerned, they'll sting anything close to them. So it's a coral you want to keep them, in their own family. Only put torches together. There is cases where you can mix hammers and frog spawn with torches, but again, you can test it. If they're not sticking, if the tentacles aren't sticking, then you're probably okay. Now, I do want to talk about the anemone. The anemone is beautiful. You probably see it and be like, I'd love to have them, but honestly I've really been contemplating getting rid of it. The one I have here hasn't moved much. This is kind of the position it's stayed in. I'd love it to be a lot lower. I probably need to increase the intensity of the light for that to happen. But you know, I notice I cannot put anything even close to it. I need to give it at least like a 4 or 5 inch radius, if not more, to make sure it's not stinging anything. So I don't know. It's nice the clowns do host in it, but I don't know if it's worth the trade-off. So it's something I'm still contemplating. I know a lot of people love anemones, but if you are going to get one, be very careful with them. And you know, because like I said, mine will sting anything in its path. It's killed quite a bit of SPS on that top part of the scape. So just be careful with what you do. All in all, they're beautiful. They're easy to keep. I feed them probably about once a week. Actually, all my corals I feed them about twice a week. The anemone about once, sometimes twice a week. All in all, I think that's all I can talk about the right part of the scape. Let's get to the left side. There's a lot more colors you guys are probably wanting to see here on the left side. So let's show you guys here the bottom of what I call my Zoa garden. So here is my Zoa garden. I'm actually very proud of this part of the tank. You know, I got to give a big shout out to a guy, Steve. I'll have his YouTube channel here on the bottom. He actually donated a lot of the coral. If you guys remember the coral haul, I did. So a lot of the Zoas went in here. Some of them are in the other tank. Most of them are all right here. And there's quite a wider range. You see some other Chaoses. You'll see some Sunny D's. You'll see some stuff that I don't even know the name of. Mixed also in here, you can see an acan. But all in all, Zoas I think are one of the easiest corals to keep. They're very straightforward. A pointer I do want to give you guys that I've found out with Zoas and is if ever you have an issue with Zoas starting to close up, and I know a few of you reefers out there, you're going to jump in and say it's not exactly true what I'm going to say, but hold on. Anytime you have a Zoa closing up, I mean, it could be a lot of things. It could be an alk swing, it can be you know, something in the water. I mean, it could be something bugging it. But typically what I've found, if you see them close up and they're not opening up for a few days, I've found phosphates. They do not like high phosphates. It's kind of something I've found out. As long as you keep your phosphates, you know, below probably point, you know, if you keep them 0.03, which is ideal, you'll be fine. But I would say no higher than about 0.6 to 0.8. Anything above that, you're going to notice issues with them. You know, if you're running 0.10, you're going to have issues with it. So 0.03 to about 0.08 is an ideal parameter. You do want to run it. I do feed them reefroids. That's kind of what keeps them nice and happy. And as far as, you know, moderate light, I've noticed the higher intensity light you run, the more color you get out of them. You may not get them to open as much, but you get a lot more depth of color. But all in all, they've been very easy to keep, not too difficult. So that's pretty much my Zoa garden. So moving on here to the back portion, this is where I have my hammers. You can also see another frog spawn here. It's actually from the same colony of the right side. I just kind of split them off. These guys here are very easy to keep. Again, you know, feed them about once, twice a week. Light is about moderate. Mid-flow, you can see they move quite a bit. But all in all, these have been pretty simple to keep. I have had a few die off similar to the torch, but it could have been the brown jelly disease that kind of killed them off. Kind of hard to say, you know, what exactly it was. But again, one thing I think every coral will love is having steady parameters. I think as long as you have steady water parameters, you're going to have success all throughout. So that's kind of all I can say really about these guys. Again, keep them away from any other non-Euphyllia coral. Be careful with torches, they may or may not sting them. But as far as any other coral close to it, Zoas, whatever have you, they will sting it, they will kill it. So you don't want that happening, because as you guys know, these corals aren't cheap. It sucks, you know, to be throwing money down the drain. So be very careful. All in all, they're very easy. I think any reefer can pretty much keep them as long as you do, you know, weekly, bi-weekly water changes, or just manage your export nutrients, and so on. So the last part of the tank we are going to be covering is the top left portion. You can see there we have a bird's nest, kind of the centerpiece. You can see there we have a Setosa and a Montipora kind of a little bit to the left of that. You can kind of see it protruding here. All in all, it's a very, I think a bird's nest is one of the easiest SPS. I mean, this thing has grown dramatically in my tank, especially you guys that follow me on Instagram. You guys can probably see the growth on this thing. Coloration had gotten pretty bad. It's now coming back. Again, it was due to light. It just wanted more light, more coverage. The Setosa here on the bottom middle has just taken off ridiculously. Great color, great growth. Very happy with it. As well, the Montipora a little bit to the left of that has again done great. Really no pointers with these corals. They're very straightforward. They don't sting. I mean, if they come close to something, they will sting it. But obviously they don't move much. You do get some flow. You get great color out of them. Very simple, very easy to keep. The only thing with these for sure do need stability. A bird's nest is a little bit more flexible, but Setosa, Montipora, they do like stability. So just running a constant stable parameter is really where you're going to have the best luck. And all in all, that's pretty much it. You guys pretty much just got a full rundown of everything in my tank. I may have missed one or two pieces of the coral. I don't think I did miss too many, but typically what I covered here, I think beginner to intermediate person should be able to grow them with ease in their tank. I don't think you'll have any issues. So if you guys out there that are saying, well, I'm kind of a beginner / intermediate, you should be fine. A lot of these corals you can keep just by doing weekly to bi-weekly water changes. You can get away without dosing. Maybe you may have to push it and maybe dosing like Kalkwasser to keep it simple. But none of these corals here shown in the video are they're not difficult at all. So I think a lot of you can have great success. So I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I know it went a little bit longer than my typical 10 minutes, but I really hope you guys got a lot of useful information. On the next video, we are going to be covering livestock as far as fish is concerned, so stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a great video. You can see I'm trying to split them all up because there's a lot of useful information I think you guys can gain from this. And then lastly, we are going to be talking about what I dose and what I feed my tank, although I did touch that a little bit here in this video. So that's going to be it, guys. We're going to wrap it up today. For you guys that don't follow me on Instagram, be sure to check me out. There's a link down in the description. If you guys have any questions on any specific coral I showed in this video, or maybe something you're thinking about purchasing, please leave it down in the comment box below. I love to chat with you guys. And we're going to wrap this video up right here. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching. Happy reefing.